Have you ever felt your own agreement turn into a hidden dagger, slicing away at connection? The words feel polite, but under the surface, they wound, sharp, silent, unforgettable. Picture this: Kareem, standing at his bedroom door, briefcase in hand, tie just straightened, tells his partner, "Sure, I'll handle dinner." Yet the next morning, the plates lie cold, untouched. Male figure, sitting in city cafe, with coffee steam rising. Distant gaze toward bustling street outside. Muted colors, city lights blurred in background. Sense of internal struggle. That hollow chime of obligation. The polite yes that echoes in an empty kitchen carries a weight you can almost taste, bitter, metallic, unacknowledged. It's the moment when a small forget becomes a silent punishment, a wordless rebellion against feeling unheard. Male figure sitting on a park bench at dusk, hands clasped tightly, faint smile, hiding discomfort. Trees casting long shadows, subtle tension wrapped around him like a cloak. What if this quiet war between what's said and what's done is draining your most important relationships, at home, at work, in your own mind? And what if understanding those buried sparks of resentment could transform that silence into honest connection? There's a familiar ache when you force a polite sure while your chest tightens, like swallowing shards of glass, wrapped in courtesy. Passive aggression isn't just bad manners, it's a hidden wound that seeps into every corner of life. You promise to help a teammate with a report, yet you forget until the deadline dries up. You answer, "I'm fine," while your jaw clenches so hard, your teeth ache. Over time, that unspoken resentment seeds loneliness, erodes trust, and steels your own heart against connection. This struggle is painfully common. Many men grow up learning to bury anger beneath keep calm culture, fearful that honest conflict means weakness. You're not broken, you're responding to emotional suppression patterns rooted in trauma and attachment. It's normal to dread rejection so much that you sabotage relationships from within. As Dr. James Gross, Stanford emotion regulation expert, explains, suppressing anger is like trying to hold a beach ball underwater. It demands constant effort, and eventually, you'll lose control. In 2018, a University of Michigan study followed 50 male managers over 6 months. Whenever they felt slighted, they nodded and smiled, but later sent curt emails or missed meetings. Those with stronger passive-aggressive tendencies reported a 40% drop in job satisfaction and twice the number of broken friendships compared to their more direct peers. The lesson: hidden hostility always finds a way out, and it always costs you more than you think. Male figure, staring at mirror, with fragmented reflection, showing different emotions: fear, anger, shame, in faint ghostly colors, moody dark palette. Number 1. Emotional suppression. From childhood, raw feelings get labeled bad. Rather than say, "I'm angry," you cancelled again. You withdraw. Number 2. Avoidant attachment. If early caregivers punished outbursts, you learn to value security over authenticity. So you comply superficially while resenting inwardly. Number 3. Societal scripts. Men are often taught to tough it out, or be the peacemaker, not to voice discomfort. This social pressure breeds covert rebellion. These mechanisms collide into a single pattern. You agree to preserve peace, but you punish in silence. That internal tug-of-war fractures your sense of self, leaving you resentful yet powerless to change. These mechanisms collide into a single pattern. You agree to preserve peace, but you punish in silence. That internal tug-of-war fractures your sense of self, leaving you resentful yet powerless to change. In the next section, we'll illuminate the 6 sneaky signs you're doing exactly that, and how naming them can begin to set you free. Late one afternoon, Michael lifted his coffee mug and scanned the inbox. "Please finalize the slide deck by 5 p.m. Read the note." He replied, "I'll handle that tonight," then dashed off to a meeting only to ignore the file until the fluorescent lights flickered off. When he finally returned, the deck was half-built, slides misaligned, placeholders intact, each unfinished element, a quiet declaration of revolt. This isn't mere busyness. It's a tactical maneuver, a way to reclaim power without ever uttering no. Unvoiced resentment coils around every passing minute, turning deadlines into battlegrounds. Bessel van der Kolk, May D, reminds us that unexpressed anger finds its outlet in our behavior, so each moment of delay pulses with hidden hostility. What fuels the weaponized? Wait. Fear of direct refusal collides with a craving for control. Saying no feels too risky, so the mind negotiates, comply, verbally, resist through delay. That tension transforms every ticking clock into a covert protest. I decide when and how you get what you asked for. What fuels the weaponized? Wait. Fear of direct refusal collides with a craving for control. Saying no feels too risky, so the mind negotiates, comply, verbally, resist through delay. That tension transforms every ticking clock into a covert protest. I decide when and how you get what you asked for. At a housewarming party, David clinked his glass and smirked. Wow, you finally figured out how to decorate without help. Impressive. It sounded sweet to everyone else, but to his friend, it landed like a splinter. A compliment laced with sarcasm is hostility in disguise, applause on the surface, contempt beneath. Why does the compliment that cuts hurt so deeply? Because it traps the recipient in a no-win. If you call it out, you're too sensitive. If you stay quiet, you swallow the insult whole. The sarcasm relieves the aggressor's resentment, while leaving you questioning your worth. How can the compliment that cuts be disarmed? When you stop laughing along, pause, and name what you feel. That sounded more like criticism. You strip the disguise from the dagger and let honesty speak louder than wit. After a fight, Daniel comes home, drops his keys loudly, then vanishes into the bedroom. Hours pass. No words, no glance, only the sound of drawers and sighs. The silence thickens the air, like fog, pulling the other person toward guilt without explanation. What makes the deafening silence so powerful? It's more than quiet. It's control disguised as calm. Because you're left guessing what you did wrong, you begin to grovel just to break the silence, handing over power in desperation. When does the deafening silence begin to thaw? When one chooses to name the void. A simple, direct statement, "I feel shut out," when you don't speak, can shatter the ice and reclaim equal footing in the room. What if every time you asked for help, the hand that reached back hid a knife? The helpful sabotage lurks here. The forgotten email, the misplaced file, the advice that leads you astray, all delivered with a smile. Why does helpful sabotage poison trust? Because it wears the mask of care while quietly undercutting you. It convinces you to doubt not just them, but yourself. How can you recognize helpful sabotage before it strikes? Watch for patterns. When help consistently leaves you worse off, it's not help. It's hostility, dressed as kindness. Naming it out loud diffuses the illusion. Have you ever felt cornered by someone's sighs? The noble victim wraps their grievances in martyrdom. It's fine, I'll just finish it myself again. Their quiet suffering demands your guilt. Why does the noble victim hold such power? Because their self-sacrifice becomes your burden. You feel obligated to rescue them, even when they engineered the crisis. How do you unhook yourself from the noble victim's net? Refuse to play the role they've cast you in. Say clearly, if you're overwhelmed, let's figure this out together. That honesty dismantles their performance. What happens when a yes feels like a no? The ambiguous agreement lives in those moments. You hear words of consent while their tone, their body language, their actions whisper defiance. Why does the ambiguous agreement leave everyone confused? because it fractures trust. You can't rely on their words, nor read their silence, and the relationship drowns in guesswork. How do you cut through the ambiguous agreement's fog? Insist on alignment. Say, your words and actions seem different. What's true for you? That clarity invites them to step out of hiding, to turn those hidden barbs into honest bridges. Adopt these 3 practices, each one chipping away at silence, each one laying planks toward authentic connection. When Michael feels the urge to slip into sarcasm, he pauses and says, "It's inside. And you're overlooked when my work isn't acknowledged," instead of a cutting joke. This structure, developed by Marshall Rosenberg, Ph.D., conflict resolution pioneer, clears the fog of blame and lays a plank of empathy across any divide. Each evening, David writes the raw scene, the offhand remark, the twist in his gut, the images swirling like storm clouds, guided by Lisa Feldman Barrett, Ph.D., who reminds us that emotions are predictions shaped by past experience. He learns to name urges like anger, shame, and hurt, and watch them evaporate like mist at sunrise. Before dawn, Daniel rehearses possible slights, a curt email, a forgotten invitation, a friend's terse tone. Drawing on Marcus Aurelius, Roman emperor and Stoic philosopher, he lets each imagined offense wash over him as a ripple in an ocean powerful, yet unable to fracture his calm. With these tools, buried resentment loses its charge. Walls of unspoken grievance begin to crumble, revealing open paths to connection. As Viktor Frankl, neurologist and Holocaust survivor, taught, between stimulus and response lies our freedom to choose. Bit by bit, the silent war within transforms into shared dialogue, and the heart learns to speak without fear. Look how far you've come, from the weaponized weight of petty delays, through compliments that cut like hidden barbs, the deafening silence that freezes connection, and helpful sabotage that erodes trust. You've seen the noble victim turning blame into guilt trips, and the fog of ambiguous agreement that wounds through mixed signals. Recognizing these 6 signs is the first courageous act of reclaiming your authenticity. Now it's your turn. What's one passive-aggressive habit you've finally named today, and how did it feel to shine light on it? Share a single word or brief moment in the comments so we can learn from each other's breakthroughs. In our last video, we peeled back the layers of emotional avoidance, and now we've dismantled the silent architecture of covert aggression. Next time, we'll step into the shadowy playbook of manipulation, uncovering dark psychology tricks you didn't know you were already using. If you're ready to keep peeling back these hidden patterns, hit subscribe and ring the bell. You'll join a community committed to speaking truth without fear, living boldly without hidden daggers, and forging genuine connection in every conversation. As the philosopher Seneca once wrote, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste much of it." Don't waste another moment, trapped in silence or resentment. Step forward, clear, honest, and alive. We'll meet in the next deep dive.